Hello peeps and welcome back to Mod of Minecraft with Nightdagger. We're on episode 29. Alright, so let's get right into it today because we got a lot of stuff to do and not a whole lot of time to do it in. So, I did do a little bit of farming off camera. Quick note, I am still getting forestry warnings for wrong chromosomes even though I updated the forestry version. I did go ahead and push the update, but it doesn't seem to be completely fixed yet. But we'll work on it as more forestry updates come out. So, I did do some farming off camera for ender pearls. We're going to need a lot of them. Because if we're going to upgrade our power system, we're going to need more power storage on this line than we currently have. We currently have 2 of these things set up in parallel, or set up in series rather. We're going to want to have probably maybe like 6 or 8 of these things set up in parallel, so that we have access to more maximum output. Now, that means a fairly major change to this system right here. We're going to need, first of all, some more of those redstone flux ducts, so we may as well get some of those going. We might actually want to upgrade to resonant flux ducts, because we have redstone flux ducts, but the resonant flux ducts requires enderium, redstone, and some redstone energy flux ducts to make 3. So we might even want to go there at some point. We're eventually going to switch over to cryostabilized flux ducts. And I have decided that once we get to the point where we're using cryostabilized flux ducts, at that point we can forego the immersive engineering power lines in exchange for these, because these things here are amazing. Transfer infinite RF per tick, and they have no residual capacitance, which means you can transfer as much power along these things as you want, and it doesn't have to saturate the pipe before it'll start transmitting to machines. Whereas the rest of these have to saturate the pipe. Now, this one can transfer 8,000. Right now, our system out here, if it's running full bore, it's not even actually capable of flooding this connection, because this system out here puts out 16,000 RF per tick, and this connection going into here can only support 8,000, which means only one line of these things running at a time can actually make it to the redstone energy cell. We need to change this, but it's going to require a few modifications first. Let's go ahead and get into them. The first thing we're going to need is a crap ton of enderium. So, enderium is ender pearls, 1 bucket, which means 16 stacks is going to give us 4 buckets of molten enderium. It's 4 per. So that's 16 stacks, right? For each 1 bucket of molten enderium, you need 2 tin. So we're going to need 32 tin. You need 1 silver. So we're going to need 16 silver. And you need 1 shiny, which means we need 16 platinum. Now, you could go through the trouble of doing all of this in an induction smelter, but that requires pyrotheum. We actually have access to something out here that is capable of doing this for us. Let's sleep through the night so we don't have to deal with zombies. I totally did not mean to shoot that. I have no idea where that bolt went. There it is. I don't think I can pick it up though. I think that one got damaged. Yeah. I don't have any bolts on me? Whatever. He's dead. Alright. We're going to toss in, first of all, we're going to disable our output here. We're going to toss in all of our ingots first. We're going to let these melt down. And then after our ingot starts to melt down, we're going to toss in the ender pearls. And you will see that ender pearls actually will melt down in a smeltery. And it only requires 500 degrees Celsius to do it. So we're going to wait for these to melt down, and this should give us a ton of Enderium. There we go. We've got resonant ender coming in. We have 32 molten Enderium. And we still have a bunch of shiny and silver and tin. So apparently I need to get another 2 stacks of ender pearls in there. Must have done my math wrong. Oh, I did do my math wrong. I put 16 buckets worth of metals in there, and only 8 buckets worth of Enderium. Yeah, that's not going to work. Alright, the next thing we're going to need to do while this works is we're going to need to see what it takes to upgrade a redstone energy cell to a resonant energy cell. Resonant energy cells are just a redstone energy cell with Enderium around them. So, as soon as these finish melting, and the rest of this alloys, we can start pouring out blocks of Enderium. There we go. We have 64 molten Enderium in this system now. We'll start pouring out blocks of molten Enderium. We've got our first block. So we're going to break that down into 9 ingots. By now we should have a second block. That's going to give us 16 ingots, or 18 ingots rather. Let's go get our crescent hammer. And we're going to upgrade this energy cell. Probably this power line too. I don't know. This energy cell is going to get a facelift. We come down here. We put Enderium in the system. Redstone energy cell, we get a resonant energy cell. Full of awesome. Pop that on the line. We can now take 80 million in this cell. And it has an input and output of 32,000 RF a tick. That's more than our system can currently handle. So, how do we fix that? Well, we remove all of these connections. Now, I am going to want to get into my system and pull out the Enderium. Because this is actually going to take our ME system offline while we're doing this. Because we're currently not getting any power in here, right? I need to go downstairs so I can grab this last thing that's floating around. Maybe I already grabbed it, I don't know. Back upstairs. We're going to need some redstone too. Oh, see, we already ran out of power. So, temporarily, as a temporary workaround, in order to keep our system online while we're doing this, we're going to take this energy cell, we're going to splice it directly into our system. We're going to hook it directly to our ME controller. It's temporarily allowed to output to the back. The ME controller also acts as an energy acceptor, so you can pump power directly into that. We're going to grab us some redstone. We're going to cook up some more redstone. And these redstone energy conduits are going to get an upgrade. They are now resonant flux ducts. We'll go ahead and put our resonant flux ducts in the system. Just like that. Head upstairs, make sure this one is in place. We'll head downstairs. You know what, I might actually go ahead and divorce myself from immersive engineering for power plant connections now. We might actually switch to a different method of power transmission, because at this point we're not going to be able to upgrade our power supply using the HV connections from immersive engineering, because they only support a maximum of 4096 per connection. That's more than we need to transfer, or that's less than what we need to transfer. So we're going to have to switch, I think. Let's go ahead and grab our resonant energy cell back. We'll head upstairs. We'll plug him back into the wall. We're going to leave him in output mode for right now. In the meantime, let's go ahead and replace our covers. Keep things looking nice. Outside as well. Yeah, we'll still use immersive engineering for situations where it's appropriate to have a lower power transmission, but for right now, I think we're gonna have to switch over to something with a little more oomph. And it just so happens I just made an absolute crapload of Endarium. So we're going to be able to support this. Alright, next order of business. The flux ducts on this system need to be upgraded to resonant. The B system we're going to leave alone, because it doesn't use that much power yet. Alright, 24 redstone energy flux ducts, actually 25. Are now resonant flux ducts. Let's go ahead and rebuild our system out here. However, we're going to upgrade these also. This is going to break our connection going to our bee farm, but that's okay. The bee farm will be perfectly fine running on that cell for a while. Alright, these are going to get upgraded. 1. 2. Alright, now, out here, we're going to replace all of the duct on top of these with resonant flux ducts. Just like that. Now this redstone furnace is going to need a power source. We're going to give it one. But what we're going to do is we're going to give it a direct link. It's going to get a direct link to the power system because we're going to expand this line out this way. Just like this. These resonant energy cells, before, these things were set up in series. So one would feed into the second, and the second would feed the system. That's not going to be the case anymore. These are going to be set in parallel. Because this system, each resonant flux duct can send 32,000 RF per connection. We now have 2 connections to our batteries. That means we can output 64,000 RF per tick into this system without having to worry about backlog. That's a lot of RF. If we put a connection on top of this using resonant flux ducts, which I'll probably want to do instead of having the line expanded out this far yet, because I don't know if we're going to get into our biogas plant this episode. We might not. If we put resonant flux ducts on top of these, we can now output 64,000 RF a tick. That sounds like a lot of power, and it is, and we're going to need it. If we take a look at our power supply, we are currently running at 21%. We're burning 200 RF a tick. We need a way to get power into our system. How are we going to do that? We're going to use tesseracts. Tesseracts are a way of transmitting power wirelessly through the ether, and it's capable of large amounts of power transfer, but they're very expensive. So we're going to need some hardened glass, some indarium, and some diamonds. We actually need to make 2 tesseract frames. 1, 2. In order to make a full tesseract frame, you have to pump 1 bucket of resonant ender into it through a fluid transposer, which means we need 2 buckets of ender. We're also going to need the fluid transposer and the magma crucible. For right now, I'm going to set the magma crucible on the power line. I'm going to set the fluid transposer next to it. The fluid transposer should not run out of power, really. If it does, we'll give it a temporary connection. But the magma crucible needs to be outputting to the side. The fluid transposer needs to be accepting from this side. Go ahead and toss our ender pearls in. We've got 4 of them in there. We'll go ahead and put a tesseract frame in there. It'll start transposing into it. Okay, we're burning 29 RF a tick. Alright, we've got 1 done. And it's still running, so it's going to make the second one. It's just going to be kind of slow about it. Let's speed it up, shall we? Let's grab our pickaxe. We'll punch a hole in the wall. We're going to temporarily give this thing a connection to the main line. We're now flooding this thing with power. We'll wait for it to fill. We're almost there, and it's full. And it's done. So, we'll go ahead and remove the temporary connection. Pop that down. We can take tesseract frames out of you, and take you and you. Now we need to turn these into full tesseracts, which is done with some bronze and some silver. 1, 2 tesseracts. The first one we're going to put on the power line up here. This thing can accept energy from the top. We're going to put the tesseract there. We're going to interact with the tesseract. We're going to set this to channel 1. Main power. Save the frequency, set the frequency. On this channel, we are going to be only receiving power. Sleep through the night. And outside. Ignoring the spider. Probably not ignoring the skeleton, who's wearing a helmet and therefore is immune to damage. Die. Alright. Tesseract on here. You are going to block all modes except for energy, which you are going to send. You're going to send it on channel 1. If we go in here now and we take a look at our power input, we are pulling in almost 32,000 RF a tick through that line. Why are we only pulling in 32,000 RF a tick? Why are we not pulling in more than that? Because that Tesseract only has one connection. If we come over here and we place a second connection on the side of this Tesseract, and we go inside now, since the Tesseract now has two connections to a 32,000 line, we're pulling in 64,000 RF a tick from our power plant. Let's upgrade those engines out there, shall we? I mean, we've got enough wood, we may as well, right? Let's look at the augments for engines. Augment, secondary gearbox, increases fuel efficiency. We don't care about fuel efficiency. We want secondary transmission coils. Double the energy produced, double the fuel consumed. 4 times the energy produced, 4 times the energy consumed. Those sound awesome. Let's make them. Secondary transmission coil. Takes redstone transmission coils. We're going to need 20 of these things. We need more redstone. That should give us 20 of them. It's going to need some copper. We've got tons of that. It's going to need some redstone. Let's dump some more redstone into this system. Make sure we have plenty. 20 secondary transmission coils. Flux modulation booster is the same thing, except it requires some silver and some glowstone now. Still going to need 20 of these. Bam. 20 flux modulation boosters. Now, what are these going to do? Each one of these engines out here is currently capable of putting out a maximum of 80 RF a tick. The addition of one secondary transmission coil boosts its potential output to 160 RF a tick. This boosts it to 320. It's also going to dramatically increase the fuel used. However, wood is not a problem for us. Now remember, one of our slots is being taken up by the excitation field limiter, which allows the dynamo to have an output of 0. So if our system is full, these dynamos will completely shut off. We definitely want to keep that. So we can't upgrade this with the last level of augments. You only have 4 slots, and I want to have a redstone control in here. I think technically you can take the redstone control out, but I don't really see a need to. And I would like to have the ability to redstone control this for the future. We may not ever use that ability, but I want to have it. Just in case I ever need to remotely shut down my system. Like if I want to have a kill switch. Or in case I want to get into advanced redstone control using computer or open computers or anything like that. I want to have the capability, at least. Now, by doing this, we have upgraded this thing. Remember, there are 10 engines on each line. Each of those engines is capable of putting out 320 RF a tick. after the addition of these upgrades. That means we're capable of putting out 32,000 RF a tick per side. We're capable of putting out a maximum of 64,000 RF a tick just from these engines. However, we're burning ass loads of charcoal. We're actually going to run out of charcoal in this system if we're running this thing at maximum capacity. So we're going to want to upgrade this furnace again. Well, I've already got a furnace in here that's upgraded. Let's take our furnace in here, replace the furnace in here with the furnace out there, now remember, we need to have this thing configured exactly like the other one is. It needs to output to the bottom because it needs to output into that chest where the charcoal is being stored. So we need an output to the bottom, we need an input from the side. The rest of the sides can be disabled. We'll pull this furnace off, we'll pull this furnace off, we'll replace this furnace with this furnace. Let's take a look in here and see how much charcoal we have first. Oh yeah, we're burning through charcoal real fast. Alright, we should be taking in wood from here once it actually recognizes. There we go. And we are outputting charcoal much faster now. Is it going to be enough? I don't know. We may need to add a second furnace onto here in order to support this amount of power transmission. Because if we take a look, these resonant energy cells are just now recovering their power level. We almost drained these things completely. Our power level in here, though, is capped. Fuck you, spider. We have 80,000 RF a tick in this line. We're back to 100% power capacity, and we are using 0 RF a tick. Now, this redstone energy furnace, or redstone furnace that I had before, let's go ahead and upgrade him to a resonant so we can replace the one that was in here. Remember I made this extra enderium gear before? Yeah. So, let's go ahead and replace this furnace right there. Let's go ahead and make the last tier of upgrade for furnaces, which is a redstone reception coil, a couple of ender pearls, and some copper. Open up the augments, and there we go. Now this furnace in here is exactly the same as the one that was out there. Awesome. We'll put this stuff away. Now, at the moment, my bees do not have a connection to the system. This is okay. I'm not going to worry too much about that right now. As you can see, it's not really using any power right now anyway. I have the bees shut off or no queens in them. So we're not using any power. We'll worry about this later after I figure out where this thing's final home is going to be, because it's not always going to be here. I haven't figured out where to put this yet. But as far as expanding the power plant, I don't think we really need to right now. Let's go ahead and get a head start on what I was going to do next episode. Let's go ahead and make ourselves an ender quarry. That sounds like fun. Why wouldn't we get a head start on something that fun? Alright, ender quarry. The ender quarry takes ender-infused obsidian, ender cores, an endothermic pump, 2 of them actually, a diamond pickaxe, a diamond-etched computational matrix. That sounds fancy. Which is burnt quartz, ender-infused obsidian, and diamonds. So basically we need a lot of this ender-infused obsidian. It's actually relatively easy to get, but we need obsidian. Half figures. We need the igneous extruder, and we're going to need some lava. Endothermic pump is also going to take ender-infused obsidian, so we're going to need some ender-infused obsidian before we can even do anything here. We're going to need some obsidian before we can even do anything. Let's go ahead and find a place that we can splice this thing in. For right now, I'm just going to splice it in right here. You are allowed to take from the back. So you'll fill. Set you to obsidian mode. Now, once this thing actually realizes that it's got a new connection, it'll say, oh, hey, I've got someplace I can put water. And it should dump water into the back. Or it would if I didn't have it set to forced non-connection mode, wouldn't it? That figures. Just put it here. Should be a connection there. If not, we'll sort it in a minute. I've got this extra tank that's floating around here somewhere. Let's go get some lava. Not down here. Let's go ahead and take a hardened tank. We'll take a lava bucket. We're going to go to the nether. Why mess around? Go straight to the source, right? We'll just fly right down here. Put down our tank. Get our lava bucket. We'll just fill this from here. Now, we may not actually get the Ender Quarry up and running this episode, but we'll get some of the framework in place for it. Might also sort another problem I've been having. 22, 23... We're definitely going to have the Ender Quarry up and running by the end of next episode, though. Because I want the Ender Quarry up and running by the time I do the world upload for you guys. There we go, 32 buckets and an extra bucket besides. Back to the overworld. Downstairs. Let's check this thing and see if it ever flooded with water. It did. Good. Shift this into output mode. And we're going to flood this tank. No. Obsidian. Why did you switch back to... whatever. At least it doesn't use lava when it's in obsidian mode. Or cobblestone mode. Alright, we're going to need a couple of these to get started. There's another problem I've been having that I really want to address. Okay, this thing is constantly flooding with water, it's just taking a while. May need to put some speed upgrades in our transposer back there. Or our item node, liquid node, whatever node it is. Ender infused obsidian. Let's go ahead and make ourselves an endothermic pump. An endothermic pump is a bucket of lava, a bucket of water, a diamond, an iron pickaxe. Easy enough to get. Grab a bucket, get some water. Got this water sitting out here. May as well use it. Okay, we've got one endothermic pump. Or we would have if we had any eyes vendor in the system. We do now. Now we've got an endothermic pump. This thing requires power. Let's go ahead and make ourselves an energy cell. We're just going to make a hardened. There we go, hardened energy cell. We're also going to want a couple of endothermic tanks, I think. Or, not endothermic, ender tanks. Ender tanks are blaze rods, wool, cauldron, ender pearls, obsidian. We need 2 cauldrons. I don't think I have the blaze rods. Nope, I've used all my blaze rods. We'll have to get some. But we're going to sort the problem that I've had with lava. Go ahead and dump that in there. We will go kill a couple of blazes to get a total of 8 blaze rods. Pickaxe. Hello, blazes. Come to me. How many we got? 1? That sucks. Piss off, spider. Where are you? Down there. How many go? Holy shit. Okay, yeah. That's a lot of blazes. Still only 6 rods. Need a couple more. Come on, guys. There you are. Oh shit. Die. There we go. 9. We can deal with that. Put down our endstone block. Down we go. Down we go. Blaze rods in the system. Ender tanks. 1, 2 of you. We're also going to want some red dye. Do I have any poppies? I do have some poppies. So we'll just go ahead and break down our poppies. And do I have any roses? No, I don't. Okay, that's fine. We're going to put down our 2 tanks. We're going to dye these things. Red, white, red. Red, white, red. Break you. Break you. We need to charge this hardened energy cell. Let's go ahead and plug him in. Get him charging. This ender tank, we're going to put down here. For reasons that will become apparent later on in the series, I'm going to put it right here. Red, white, red. Come on, back upstairs. Okay, we have 450,000 energy in this cell. That's enough for now. We're going to head back to the nether. The endothermic pump is a very awesome item that acts as a low lag pump for use in the nether. However, you don't place it directly over the lava, you place it over a surface near lava. So for example, I place my endothermic pump here. We put the ender tank on top, we put an energy cell next to it, and allow it to output energy into the thing. And you'll see that it's going to very quickly burn up some of the lava here, and it's going to fill our ender tank. That is a spider, a very large one. We're running away now. Now I believe the ender tanks also self-chunk load. Or the endothermic pump. I believe it self-chunk loads. I don't know for sure, but I think it does. We'll find out here in a minute. We're going to take this other hardened portable tank I had. We're going to upgrade that to a reinforced tank. We're going to upgrade that to a resonant tank. We're going to come down here and we're going to put that resonant tank under there, and we're going to set this into output mode. So we are now going to be draining lava into this tank constantly. And if you take a look, this ender tank is not unfilling, which means that the resonant or the endothermic pump on the other side, it is still running. So we've temporarily sorted our lava problem. How much do we have in here? You know what, we'll just lift this up and pop him down there, and outputs. We want lots of obsidian. Back upstairs, dump this into the system. We're going to need 2 more of these endothermic pumps. 1, 2. 2 eyes of ender. 1, 2. Buckets. 2 of lava, 2 of water. One, 2. One, 2. You, and you. Endothermic pump. Oh, we need ender-infused obsidian. One, 2. Ender quarry. Takes any sapling, a diamond pickaxe, 2 ender cores, which takes magical wood and eyes of ender. Magical wood takes enchanted books and gold ingots. So this is where we're probably going to end up having to call this an episode, because I need to make... You know what? No, let's do this. Let's do this shit. I did put out an episode yesterday, but I've been slacking recently, so we can put out a long episode today. I need some more obsidian. I used it all. That's why we got this thing. We're going to need some more tanks in order to further expand our experience collection system over here, because I filled it up and still have 42 levels. And I don't want to burn 40 levels on an enchanted book. Especially when we're going to need 16 enchanted books. Okay, there we go. Ender core. Magical wood takes a bookshelf, so we're going to need a total of 8 bookshelves. We're going to need 16 enchanted books. Go ahead and put some of this stuff away. And for the moment, I'm going to pick up my enchantment table, and I'm going to move it over here next to this thing, because I only need 1 level at a time to do this. We'll pull out that. We'll go ahead and we need an empty hand to do this. We'll pull out 2 levels. You. You can get a minimum, you can get a level 2 enchant on this thing, but this saves me from having to click every single time. Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more level. 0. Let's grab the book. Then, in here, bookshelves. Gold. Magical books. Are you kidding me? Shape crafting. Oh, I had it backwards. That figures. Or did I? Yeah, I did. I had it backwards. Okay, bookshelves. There. There's 1. 2. We're actually going to do it this way. I've got a vanilla crafting table over here. So we're going to do it the smart way. 3, 4. Now, it has occurred to me that I've only got half the magical books that I need, because that's only half the magical wood I'm going to need, right? I need 2 ender cores. I got enough for 1. So, we're going to need to do another 16 books. However, I'm running up to about 50 minutes. I'm going to do this part off camera. So, this has been Nightdagger with episode 29 of Modded Minecraft with Nightdagger Season 5. In episode 30, we will finish the infrastructure that we need in order to get our ender quarry going. We will probably craft a couple more tesseracts to patch into our main line so that we can power the ender quarry from afar and keep an eye on our power consumption. And we will get the thing running and bringing some resources in for us to play with. Hope you guys are looking forward to that. I'll catch you later, peeps.